That's correct, but keeping it in statute would give us the opportunity to continue to examine its operations, to figure out if there are changes that need to be made either in policy or in statute, and from there move on and make the determination as to whether or not we would want to give it funding in the future. If you abolish it or get rid of it entirely from the revised code, you are looking at a situation where you would then have to redraft it in the future in order to make it effective and viable. This would just save us that headache in terms of whether or not we would want to recreate it or just amend it. We can make the changes that we want to make while still keeping the overall council in the revised code. Just its funding halted pending further review.
That council we're operating as you believe it should. Is there a value to it?
That's a good question. I think as Representative Book and I are both members of the Retirement Study Council, we are familiar with how that operates, and of course that was listed as a model in terms of how the Workers' Compensation Council should operate. As early as March of 2009, I believe it was, the members of the council were being asked to think of things that we could talk about at future council meetings. In my opinion, if there's a need for a council, you don't need to generate topics of discussion. They generate themselves, and that's much the way that the Retirement Study Council operates. We have no shortage of things that we need to discuss and deliberate over, and that's what we have been doing. Obviously, with some of the issues regarding pension reform, we have been busy doing it. On the other hand, the Workers' Compensation Council seems to be a vastly different animal. It doesn't seem to have the same kind of workload that the Retirement Study Council does. And if that's the case, I think we need to make a determination as to whether or not such a council is truly necessary. These are concerns that have been raised. Again, we've received one bill analysis, formally approved two bills, which were budgets for the BWC and the Industrial Commission. And other than that, the council has been largely dormant. And given its size of its budget, and given the fact that employers are directly assessed for this, I think we need to take a good hard look and see whether or not that this assessment on Ohio's employers is truly necessary.
$1 million, I mean, that's a chunk change in this budget. And you stand to lose a lot, don't you, for that $1 million in savings?
In terms of the council, or just...
In terms of the savings, you said in the initial release that it could add up to $1 million.
Well, in terms of what we lose with the council, some would argue that we haven't really gained a lot. And so I'm not so sure that we are really losing a lot by defunding it and figuring out whether or not there's truly a need for it moving forward. In terms of the rest of the boards and commissions, and really in terms of the council as well, when government needs to be trimmed down in terms of bureaucracy and boards and commissions that are no longer necessary, regardless of the cost savings, it should be done. And that's what we're proposing to do, whether it's with the boards and commissions that represent the book noted or with the Workers' Compensation Council. Regardless of the savings, it needs to be done. And for the council, every Ohio employer that is not self-funded is being assessed for this. And as we hear time and time again back in our districts, every little bit matters. So for those employers not being directly assessed for this, for a council that appears to be largely ineffective, is certainly worth it, even if that assessment is relatively small in the larger scheme.
The Sunset Review Commission's been around for several sessions at least, and usually boards can come and say, given their explanation for why they shouldn't be eliminated, and the commission usually agrees not to eliminate them. Is it kind of to say that you guys are impatient with that process and that you believe that maybe it's not really effective?
No, I mean, like I said, we've been working with the Sunset Review Commission and doing this bill, this legislation.
Yeah,
it's a matter of timing. We're going to do this bill now because of the legislative season itself, and we need to get it started at this point.
I'm pretty sure these boards and commissions are not, they haven't asked to be eliminated. I know several of them haven't covered.
Oh, I know, you're right, but I mean, it's just, we've made a determination that we need to eliminate these boards, and that's what we're moving forward. And there was a question about, whether it be political backlash, and these are not good times. They're not good times for people in Ohio. They're having to make tough choices, and we're going to make some choices to eliminate some boards and commissions that we no longer see as necessary.
Do you want to see this passed by the end of June, out of the House?
That'd be great for me, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll have its timeline, and we'll move forward. I know that this is something that I'm very interested in, and some members of leadership are interested in. So we'll try to move as quickly as we can, but no guarantee on any kind of timeline. One more question, and we can stay around